My cousin is pregnant with a supermagnetic baby. I don't know where she heard it. The supermagnetic baby will grow up to be a stupid beauty. Show off to everyone. I'm worried about my baby's future. Find the information and hazards of the supermagnetic baby. Kindly persuade her to abort. Later, my cousin gave birth to a normal daughter. But the appearance is not satisfactory, with a black birthmark on his face. So when my cousin sees a mother, when you go on TV with a sweet-looking supermagnetic baby, my cousin blamed everything on me. If it weren't for you, I should be the one on TV now. I got a barrel of gasoline by my cousin who lost her mind. Just send it away. Open your eyes again. Back to the day my cousin showed off her super baby. My daughter will definitely be a beauty when she grows up. Chen Chen, you are a college student. Do you think so? Why not? How can two toads mutate if they laugh to death? No white swan can be born. Super baby will be a stupid beauty in the future. My daughter will definitely be a beauty in the future. If you don't understand, don't talk nonsense. Chen Chen, you are a college student. Do you think so? The burning sensation on the body has not dissipated. Cousin Li Qing's familiar voice pulled me back to reality. I looked at the familiar scene in front of me. A big belly with my cousin. Can't help but be stunned. It's my cousin's birthday. I was shocked. I am reborn. You haven't talked to me in a long time. My cousin impatiently urged me to Guchen. Do you think so? I can react. Immediately said the opposite of the previous laugh. Why not? Hear my answer. The cousin twisted her waist and laughed in satisfaction. I didn't say anything. Others stopped persuading their cousin when they saw it. And I found an inconspicuous corner. Looking at my cousin quietly. Cousin-in-law is full of flaws. Vanity loves money. Stingy. He is short and fat like his cousin, too large everted nostrils. Plus a mouth of buck teeth. No. Not at all. She looks white. If not, they can be a family. The last time I found out that my cousin was pregnant with a supermagnetic baby, I checked the relevant information online. I thought it was just a mild symptom. But I don't want to see the 3 words chimera on the report sheet. I'm worried about my baby's future. I took a look at the appearance of my cousin and cousin at home. Worried about society's tolerance for supermagnetic babies. I don't want the baby to be born and start with a collapse. Find the information and hazards of the supermagnetic baby. Kindly persuade her to abort. Later, my cousin gave birth to a normal daughter. Looks unsatisfactory, with a black birthmark on his face. So my cousin who is not yet pregnant. I saw a mother. When you go on TV with a sweet-looking super baby, my cousin blamed everything on me. If it weren't for you, I should be the one on TV. My irrational cousin tricked me into going home. While I'm not paying attention, a barrel of gasoline spilled over. I was burned alive. In fact, God can't stand it. Give me a chance to be reborn. This time you are born. Don't come to me. Chen Chen, weren't you still talking about it a few days ago? Is the super baby bad? Go talk to your cousin-in-law. Don't want this child. My butt is still not hot. My mother Yang Meiyun hurriedly tried to pull me up. Go to cousin. Mom's cousin didn't say it was bad. What am I going to join in the fun? I wanted to hold my mom. I don't want to get involved anymore. I don't want to talk. My mother's face immediately sank. She doesn't understand, don't you understand? And I took my mom aside. Look at her with sincerity. Mom, how many people have told my cousin-in-law? Did she hear? If something really happened then, who is it that depends on me? We can't get involved anymore. The voice just fell. My mom immediately threw my hand away. Say no. And I looked at my mother who was excited in front of me with a look of surprise. My mom. Perhaps it was because he was overly excited by his actions. The voice softened a bit. Who said anything about the future? The expectant mother also watched it. That's the supermagnetism of the chimera. If you are born, you will destroy your cousin-in-law. So your cousin-in-law just can't have the child. Chen Chen. You can't watch your cousin-in-law do stupid things either. Go and persuade your cousin-in-law. Go look at what my mom says. I couldn't help but ask the question in my heart. Mom, do you know what will happen if you say it? My cousin is now looking forward to the birth of this child. If my cousin's child is not satisfactory in the future, you guess, will she blame me for all the mistakes? My mom finished listening, immediately dragged me unhappily and was about to move forward. Say it yourself. I threw my mom away with force. Leave a message and go. On the road, I reflected on my mother's attitude towards my cousin's family. The more I think about it, the more wrong it becomes. At first, my mother didn't like my cousin very much. Until my cousin got married. My mom has been a different person ever since. In my last life, my mother mentioned it to me. Want me to persuade my cousin to abort the child. But I had this heart back then. He didn't think about it. Later, my cousin confinement. My mom is even more busy. Moisturized the circle of cousin's care. Said he was the end of his mother. Later, cousin-in-law because the child she gave birth to is not as good as he wants. I often lose my temper at home. Auntie can't stand it. But my mom can not only tolerate. You also blamed me with your cousin. I have always regretted persuading my cousin at that time. So when my cousin lowered her face and asked me to go find him, I had 100 unwillingness in my heart. But even my dad couldn't beat my mom at that time. Let alone me. You child. Let's talk to your cousin-in-law about what's wrong. I just got home for a while. And my mother came back very angry. I got home with my mom and my dad just got off work. My dad is unknown. So look at my mom. Asked me what happened to your mother. When I put the ins and outs of things. After talking to my dad looked at my mom with disapproval. Chen Chen did the right thing. It's not that I didn't persuade. If something really happens in the future, who do we blame? Don't mention this in the future. My mother at first. I thought my dad would be on his side. But when my mom heard my dad's words, his face sank immediately. Whether I agree or not. Continue to talk about Chen Chen. You can persuade your cousin-in-law tomorrow. What's the matter with you? Chen Chen said he didn't want to go. What are you forcing him to do? Chen Chen doesn't want to go, so we won't go. And when I heard what my dad said, I couldn't help but throw myself into my dad's arms. Wailing. In the last life, when my dad found me, I've become a charred corpse. My dad wants justice for me. Unexpectedly, my mother said to blame himself. Who let him make Chin Chin angry? A middle-aged man lost his hair overnight. Now my mother can only persuade herself. But my cousin has made up her mind to give birth. My mom touched a gray nose. When I came back, my cousin began to take supplements without restraint. Relatives kindly remind. But she threw it back. Do you understand nutrition? I have a future female star in my belly. Are you jealous of me? And nobody said a word after that. Gradually, my cousin is getting fatter and fatter. Even the doctor advised her to control her diet. But my cousin accused the doctor of being a quack. He also boasted about what doctors know. Only enough nutrition. My baby will be healthy. After that, he was wandering around with a big belly. As long as you meet a pregnant woman. Show off. I'm pregnant with a stupid beauty's super magnetic baby. It is better to show off your genes to others. But others look at my cousin's appearance. That indescribable expression. Can't she really see? And cousin. Looking at the increasingly mellow cousin. But not worried at all. Even more so as a cousin. Proud of the big belly that doesn't match the gestational weight. Every day around my sister-in-law's pregnant belly shouting beautiful baby. And my mom was very anxious when she saw it. He even personally cooked and served a plate of fat-reducing meals. But I don't want to be scolded by my cousin for giving me this. Are you trying to get my daughter killed? My daughter is going to be a female star in the future. After scolding, he threw all the food on my mother. My mom doesn't give up. Call me, Cheng Cheng. Your cousin-in-law can't get so fat. You are a college student. You call to persuade her. And I just hung up the phone. My mom can't make a plan and has another plan. Threatening me with living expenses. But I turned around and told my dad. This time he can only call me a white-eyed wolf there. Internship ends. I signed up for classes at home to prepare for the exam. My cousin is about to give birth. Just a cousin at this time. Fat look. Like a balloon about to explode. It's the kind of fat guy who's about to be blown up. Eating without restraint. Let the baby in the belly become oversized. Can't give birth naturally. C-section only. After giving birth, cousin-in-law loves her niece so much. Everyone compliments their niece on her beauty. Niece full moon. I took a look. I can only say that these facial features are very similar to their husband and wife. When my cousin found out that I was preparing for the editorial exam, hugging my niece and looking at me with disdain. You read so many books. I graduated without a job. You might as well help me take care of Yin Yin. In the future, Yin Yin will become a big star. You also have light on your face. And my mother listened to my cousin's words. The eyes brightened. Start being a demon. Chen Chen, your cousin-in-law is right. That unit may not be able to pass the exam. Why don't you follow your cousin-in-law now? Yin Yin will become a star in the future. You can also follow the light. I don't think you need to take the test either. You'll stay here for a while. Take good care of your cousin and Yin Yin. And I looked at my mom in disbelief. This makes me wonder for the first time. Am I my mother's biological son or cousin-in-law? I also directly asked my mother what was in my heart. Am I your own? My mother said why not? But I still see the disgust in my eyes. My mom hates me. My voice is too loud. It brought in talking relatives and my dad. After understanding the ins and outs of the matter, my dad pulled me home with a dark face. Let go of the cruel words. No one is allowed to disturb my exam. My mom and dad had a big fight about it. My dad rented a single room for me to study. A year later, I made it ashore. I didn't tell anyone about the disembarkation, except my dad. So in the eyes of others, I started working in a factory. Even my mom thinks I'm embarrassing him. And I just smile. Poor my dad who wants to go forward and argue. But my dad doesn't want me to suffer this grievance. When my father broke the news that I had come ashore, the faces of the people present changed. Especially my cousin. What if you are admitted to the unit? Not working for people. I heard that the salary of the staff is very low. Chang, why don't you and your cousin enter the factory as soon as you enter the factory? And my mother couldn't help but echo my cousin's sister-in-law. Your cousin is right. Why don't you report it? It's all part-time work anyway. Your cousin can still take care of you. And I just looked at my cousin and my mother faintly. I said, cousin-in-law, you can't eat grapes and say grapes are sour, can you? And you graduated from elementary school. It's normal not to understand. And mom, you're not too old anyway. You and your cousin entered the factory. It just so happens that my cousin can still take care of you. Just when my mom wanted to scold me, my dad put down a word and dragged me away. If you have the ability, you can test one yourself. After coming out, my dad turned around. The head took me to a restaurant to celebrate. I knew you were the best. You don't have to worry about the family. Don't worry about those words. Niece 1 year old. Her cousin took her to the program team for an interview. Not surprisingly, nieces are all rejected. But it wasn't just that at the interview venue. The niece also beat several children to tears. Looking at the child sitting on the ground crying, my cousin didn't apologize. Still praising my niece, my baby is so strong. But awesome. This move completely annoyed the parents of the spanked children. The cousin looked at the parents who came forward to theorize, but said disdainfully, if you have the ability, ask your daughter to call back. Besides, it's just children playing with each other. I can't play by myself, so I'm embarrassed to blame others. A patient. But not everyone will tolerate it. So when my niece wanted to hit another little friend, beaten by a child on the ground, don't wait for my cousin to come forward and ask. People returned what they said before. Just playing with children. Your kids can't play. How dare you blame others? Just when my cousin was about to start with a body of fat, the organizers showed up. And the organizers only looked at the niece once. The niece was persuaded to quit. But my cousin is not satisfied with the result, immediately asked loudly why you don't want Yin. My Yin looks so beautiful. I'll be a big star in the future. Call the director out. Cousin-in-law started to roll around and play rascals, dangling all over the fat, plus a face that's about to burst. It looks disgusting. Just because after the cousin gave birth, eating without restraint, someone stopped. She said not to eat. What should I do if I am hungry? But in my opinion, my cousin is simply greedy. This end. Do you usually not look in the mirror? Why? Why does your child look like you? Why? The parent just now didn't like his cousin's sister-in-law. Frowning begins. Talking while my cousin caught someone. What do you mean? What's wrong with looking like me? That family member is not used to your ugly cousin-in-law at all. Cousin was stunned. What did you say in an instant? Can you say that again? Looking at my cousin's fat body. The parent didn't flinch at all. But stable play, I say you are ugly. Do you understand, auntie? Finally, my cousin and niece were asked out by security guards. After going out, cousin-in-law doesn't forget to put down the cruel words, you wait for me. Yin will become a big star in the future. You look good. Went to a few in succession. Nieces were all turned away without exception. And my cousin never looks for problems in herself. Instead, he began to scold those organizers for having no eyes. I don't know good or bad. But he doesn't look at his aesthetic either. Let's not talk about the niece's appearance. It depends on what she wears. Wearing a pink goat t-shirt. It still has oil stains from eating noodles in the morning. A pair of shorts and a pair of trousers for the lower body, and the niece was originally oversized. Now it's even more wrong being fed by my cousin. Fat on the hands. I haven't wiped the snot off my face yet. Like a clown baby. Don't say it looks good or not. Not even clean at least. Why do you make people look at you? Chen, Come back soon. Something happened to your cousin. Just got off work, then came the news that my cousin had been beaten off by her niece just because my niece is now 4 years old. But her cousin hasn't win her yet. Niece is like a bully at home as long as it's not what she wants, then smash people with something cousin-in-laws. Body has been bruised by her purple piece. The niece has reached kindergarten age. Several kindergartens have been discouraged for no other reason just because my niece beat several children. She even beat the teacher when the teacher kindly persuaded his cousin when taking my niece to the hospital for a visit. But how did you become a teacher when you were scolded by your cousin? She's so young, what does she know? You just can't see my good news. The teacher looked at his cousin like this. Don't say anything more. It's the same problem in other kindergartens. Teachers are also afraid of trouble. Besides, there is no reason for a niece to hit someone. As long as he doesn't like it. Pick up the things around you and smash them. But other people's children are also the treasures of the family. So far, the evil signs of my niece have spread. It's on the blacklist. No kindergarten dares to accept. I didn't come home. My mom called again. Chen Chen hurriedly went to the First People's Hospital of H City. Find an expert waiting for you. Cousin, she is in a coma. Don't wait for me to speak. Other people's voices also came out of the microphone. Yes, Chen Chen works in CTH. Tell him to find an expert quickly. And they made me laugh. I'll go straight to the first place. I don't work in a hospital. Secondly, I didn't open the hospital. Is that the expert I look for? Finally, if my cousin comes over, I can help you put up a number. Then I hung up the phone directly. What can cousin do? When my cousin was admitted to the hospital, I have already asked my friends in the hospital. My cousin is just too fat. Elevated blood pressure. After my cousin woke up, my mother immediately called to complain about my Guchan. Are you still my daughter? Why are you so cruel? You don't want to find an expert for your cousin-in-law. And I just said it lightly, Mom. Put up or shut up. See my cousin again. When my niece was 7 years old, my cousin got her wish and went on TV with her niece, but the niece got into trouble. The niece took a fancy to one of the children's bracelets. Children don't give. My niece is holding a fruit knife. I want to cut off the child's hand. And then the eagle-eyed netizens noticed that something was wrong with their niece's behavior, and behavior are very violent, force-leaning. Super baby. This one shows that the niece is not only super magnetic or chimera. At first, netizens thought that my cousin was unaware of its niece, but I don't want to wait for others to verify it. Cousin-in-law confirmed the fact that she had long known. So when my niece was caught off guard with a fruit knife when cutting off a child's hand, the cousin not only did not apologize at all, he's still screaming stubbornly, my daughter is the dummy of the super magnetic babies. Beauty will be a big star in the future. What's wrong with being touched by a star? That's your pleasure. Besides, isn't this okay? As soon as my cousin's words came out, the netizens couldn't sit still. The niece's past has also been exposed. After my niece was expelled from kindergarten, cousin doesn't care. I think I can teach my niece too. Just hold your phone every day. Show your niece the female star on her phone. When my niece reaches primary school age at the age of 6, the niece has been deliberately nurtured and doted on by her cousin-in-law. I feel like a female star. More freewheeling. Defiant. As long as the classmate and teacher are a little bit displeased with her, pick up the chair and smash it. The niece was isolated by her classmates. No one dared to approach her. The niece's personality has also become more and more eccentric, until she waited for the teacher to fall asleep, quietly came to the teacher's dormitory on duty, standing in front of the teacher with a stool leg, finding my niece before the teacher went to sleep, or niece's stool legs with nails. It may kill the teacher, but only because the teacher stopped her from hitting a classmate before, and punished her for standing a class. Didn't wait until the next day. That night, my cousin and sister-in-law were called to school by the principal. But my cousin still thinks my niece is right. They insult their teachers. Make nonsense. The niece who slandered the teacher first. There's nothing wrong with the niece fighting back. Just messing around like this. Let the teacher who originally sympathized with the niece directly call the police. Niece was expelled from school. Originally, my cousin did not agree with my cousin's approach. But the cousin is in the cousin's wife again and again. Niece will be a big star in the future. Under brainwashing, I actually feel that everything is someone else's fault. And not only that, the netizens also picked up the niece who beat the children in the community. The children in the community now. I always walk around when I see my niece. I'm afraid she'll hit someone if she's not happy. And my cousin is still there smug. I think my niece is amazing. Can be used as black material for this article. When overwhelmingly attacking my cousin, cousin-in-law is still arrogant. You are jealous that my Yini looks good. For a time, netizens read and watched. The niece was speechless. Cousin TV didn't work. Also lost a lot of money. When she found out that someone was paying attention to her on the street, she thinks it's okay again. I take my niece shopping every day. Show off your niece's good looks to everyone. But as long as someone refutes, she changes her face immediately. You are just jealous. Later, my cousin was instructed by an expert. Playing super baby gimmicks. Start live streaming video. But netizens are not without memory. The live stream and comment area are not cursing cousin-in-law. Knowing that my niece is a chimera super female. Still alive means the niece is ugly. Cousin breaks the defense again and again. But watch the balance in the phone gradually increase. My cousin still wants to eat the internet. When I was at work, cousins call. Show off is obvious. Chan, please be fair. Are these netizens jealous of me? I directly replied that they were jealous of you. Are you jealous that you are ugly? Cousin was stunned. Then he asked me angrily, what are you talking about? And I'm not used to her at all. Or is it because you are fat and ugly? Before my cousin could react, I hung up the phone immediately. And the cousin on the other end of the phone is trying to get on the phone and scold me. When I found out that I had already blocked her, cousin-in-law can only be incompetent and furious. Can't get any better from me. My cousin continues to log traffic online. Well-meaning netizens, watching my niece lose control of her behavior, kindly remind my cousin to take it to the hospital. It may not be possible to control the medication. But my cousin thinks the netizens want to break their niece's star dream and their own wealth. If you don't listen, you will directly abuse netizens in the live stream. So far, netizens also know that cousin-in-law can be scolded. Watching my cousin let my niece not teach, users began to report boycotting cousin's account. And even worse, even the address of my cousin's house was ripped out. The night before, cousin-in-law is still checking with netizens in the live stream. You are just jealous that I have such a beautiful daughter. If you have the ability, come and be real to me. The next morning, Anne opens the door instantly scared to the ground just because there are many rotten animal carcasses piled up at the door. One more sentence. If you dare to let your daughter come out and hurt people at your own risk. This time my cousin was afraid, quickly canceled the account. Niece 8 years old. The age when you should be in primary school, but I stay at home all day, grumpy, cloudy and sunny. If it doesn't go his way, he will start directly. The current niece has been raised tall and fed by her cousin, life like a local emperor at home. My aunt and cousin were black and blue. Being beaten has become commonplace. Niece dare not touch cousin. The niece is actually very smart because she knows that she can't beat her cousin now. When my cousin finally wanted her niece to go to school, but my niece didn't want to. The current niece is about the same height as her cousin's sister-in-law. The older you get, the less communication between nieces and cousins. And my cousin wants to make her niece a big star all day long. Taught nothing. Niece knows nothing. Plus genetic defects. Therefore, as a niece, something happened while being dragged to school by my cousin. Niece because she is older. Just in first grade. Being laughed at by other students in the class. The classmate just gently ground marketing her. The niece picked up the stool like crazy. Hit a classmate. Just happened to be seen by several other senior classmates. Coincidentally, those senior classmates. I was bullied by my niece before. And this time, the person who was beaten into the hospital became a niece. Fortunately, the niece is okay. But the other students who were beaten by him were not so lucky. One of the students' legs. I was broken by my niece. Both sides were long. But my cousin always looks arrogant. Suddenly angered the opposite parent. My cousin is used to bullying the soft and fearing the hard. The parents on the opposite side are not jealous either. So when they found a large group of people around the cousin, until the cousin promised to pay to their satisfaction, just laughed. Chan, how much money do you have there? Lend it to me first. My cousin called me on my aunt's cell phone, and I directly refused. He was also scolded by his cousin as a white-eyed wolf. Soon my cousin had enough 200,000. But the situation at the cousin's house is average. Not much savings. Plus I lost a lot of money for my niece before. So where did she get so much money? When I see the quiet. When my mother came back with a bank card. Everything is clear. Mom, where did you just go? My mother heard my voice. Hide the card immediately. You look like you're going out. No, I was just about to go out. Stop by to see Yin. Didn't you just get back? Wait for my words to ask. My mom immediately put on an impatient expression. Why do I have to report to you wherever I go? And I didn't even give my mom a chance to refute. So you already gave the money to your cousin-in-law, right? My mom heard me confront her. Immediately slammed the door and go out. After a while, the information of the cousin-in-law was sent. You don't borrow, Some people borrow. This money is what my dad works so hard to get from his sports car every day. But my mother gave it all to my cousin at once. When my dad found out, he went to my mom immediately. But my mother said that Yin was already so pitiful. What if I gave her the money? My mom used the relatives said to crush my dad. My dad can't say anything more. Only since then, his income is no longer credited to that card. After losing money, cousin-in-law is no longer so concerned about her niece. I'm also growing impatient with my niece. There was an expression of disgust on his face. I don't even care if my niece sneaks out. Until the niece was sent home by the police covered in stains. Obviously the niece must have been bullied. But cousin and cousin are tired and crooked together. Don't care at all. The niece with the little lonely eyes. The two were discussing unscrupulously. She was pregnant with a second child, but her niece was no longer a child. She understood what her parents were saying. What are you doing? He can feel it. The love of his cousin and sister-in-law for him is gradually fading. So much so that some dislike him. So my niece would throw a tantrum at home from time to time. Cousin-in-law who couldn't bear to touch him before smashing things. Anger for the first time. First time hitting a niece. But with the first time, there will be a second time and a third time. Cousin-in-law begins to dislike niece as a tow bottle. Nothing. It will only cause her trouble. In the beating and scolding again and again. The niece's eyes grew colder and colder. The temper is getting weirder. Until my cousin became pregnant. When cousin and sister-in-law are together happily celebrating pregnancy, they didn't notice. The niece already has a fruit knife. Walk behind them. One knife at a time stabbed my cousin. Fortunately, my cousin responded in time. Hold the niece in check. But he was stabbed several times himself. The niece was admitted to a psychiatric hospital. Good cousin is in the hospital. There are two bad news. First, the baby in the belly was not saved. The second is to detect kidney failure. Needs a kidney transplant. So when they can't find a suitable kidney source. My phone rings again. Chen, I haven't been home for dinner for a long time. Mom made what you like. Come back tomorrow night. Mom, where's my dad? When I came home, only my mother can see the house. Your dad got a big order. It may take a few days to come back after leaving the province. After saying that, my mother felt a little guilty and served me food. See me eat. He frowned. My mom immediately pulled out a glass of juice. Is it salty? Drink some juice. Mom, there's no medicine in this juice, is there? I didn't expect my words to make my mother sit up immediately. Say it out loud, you child. Say what? Drink it now. Could it be that I can still hurt you? So that after I drink the juice. My mom breathed a sigh of relief. Then tell me, Chen, with all your heart. Your cousin-in-law is also a poor person. I haven't had a father since I was a child. I smiled. Mom. That's really interesting what you say. Did I cause his father to die? Or is it related to you, Mom? What nonsense are you talking about? Just when my mom was about to hit me. My vision is getting blurry. After I passed out on the ground. My mother muttered to herself. Don't blame Mom. After all, Chin was the last child she left in the world. Wait for my mom to finish. My cousin and sister-in-law also appeared in the living room. Are you dizzy? See my mother nod. My cousin kicked me with full force. What's so great about college students? If you hadn't reminded me earlier. How did I give birth to Yin? Cousin finished. I looked to my cousin. My cousin immediately came up and dragged me into the room. And my mother looked at my cousin in horror. Didn't you say you want his kidney? Auntie, I know what happened between you and my dad. So are you still going to stop it? My mom thought for a moment. He turned his head silently. Hurry up and give an order from cousin-in-law. My cousin immediately dragged me into the room. When my cousin was about to take off my clothes. My dad is back. Chen, when my dad found me. My cousin is already lying on the bed in pain, moaning. After my dad came the police. After my cousin and sister-in-law were taken away by the police. My dad looked at my mom with bloodshot eyes. The so-called tiger poison does not eat. Chen, she is your biological daughter. How did you do it? When my dad calms down. Looking at my mom with hurt eyes. So you'd rather destroy our daughter? Help his daughter too, right? And my mom just hugged. The head keeps muttering. Chin is the last fuck she left for me. My father was not born. Instead, he was tricked into an abandoned factory by his cousin. They were going to give my kidney to my cousin. Then they killed me and my dad together. My dad and I had long been on guard against them. I came home just to reconfirm my mom. She doesn't seem to love me. But what they don't know is, I already called the police. And I was already on my dad's phone installed a positioning software finally. Both my cousin and sister-in-law were sentenced. The police also successfully caught a group of illegal medical practitioners. And my mom lost her only fault. The cousin looked at her niece before entering. He was stabbed to death by his niece as a super baby. Without the right guidance, they don't have an accurate understanding of their own behavior, so when there is a problem, the doctor's advice doesn't hurt anyone. Cousin is dead. My mom grew 10 years old. Overnight, I also knew from my dad's mouth. It turns out that my cousin's father was my mother's first love. My mom married my dad just to get angry with my cousin's father, but why should my dad and I bear their mistakes? It means that you will never think of leaving a mental hospital for the rest of your life. A chimeric super baby without proper guidance. It is harmful to society. My dad and my mom successfully divorced. Follow me to the unit. In the next 5 years, I met someone who will be with me for the rest of my life. On my wedding day, I think I saw my mom. Now my mother was like an old woman who had lost her spirit, but I don't want to forgive her. Let's sit good.